Why Taoist philosophy says losers have it better. What if everything you've been taught about success is a lie? What if the people society calls losers the ones who don't climb the corporate ladder, who don't chase fame, who don't obsess over winning actually have it better? It sounds insane, right? We're told from the moment we're born that we need to strive, to compete, to prove ourselves. But what if all of that struggle, all of that ambition, is actually making life worse, not better? Taoist philosophy has an answer to this, and it's something that goes against everything modern society believes. Look around. Everyone is fighting for something: status, money, recognition, power. Every day, people wake up and step onto an invisible treadmill, running as fast as they can but never actually getting anywhere. They chase promotions, they chase validation, they chase the illusion of control. And yet, despite all this effort, so many people are miserable, stressed, anxious, always feeling like they're falling behind, like they're not enough, like they need to do more, be more, have more. But here's the paradox: the ones who refuse to play this game, the so-called losers, are often the ones who are truly free. Taoism teaches that effort, force, and ambition can actually be obstacles to happiness. It tells us that the more we push, the more resistance we create. Think about a river. Water doesn't fight to move forward. It doesn't struggle, it doesn't force itself, it simply flows. It goes where there is least resistance, and because of that, it always reaches its destination. But what do? We try to push against life. We treat life like a competition, a war, a struggle, and in doing so, we create our own suffering. In the Tao Te Ching, Lao Tzu says, "The softest thing in the world overcomes the hardest thing in the world." This is the essence of Taoist wisdom. The weak, the flexible, the ones who don't fight, these are the ones who truly win in the end. Not because they dominate, not because they conquer, but because they adapt. They let go. They stop resisting the natural flow of things.
Click subscribe to this channel to get more topics you love.
Now, let's talk about the people society calls losers, the ones who don't have high-powered jobs, the ones who don't chase wealth, the ones who live simply, who don't obsess over competition, who don't care about proving themselves. Are they really losing? Or have they figured something out that the rest of the world is too blind to see? When you step away from the endless pursuit of success, something strange happens. You start to enjoy life. You stop worrying about status, about what people think, about whether you're winning or losing. You start to truly live. But here's the real question: what are you actually chasing? If you could have everything you've ever wanted, success, money, recognition, would it really make you happy? Or would it just make you want more? Because that's the trap. No matter how much you achieve, there is always another level, another goal, another thing to chase. It never ends. And Taoism teaches us that the only way to truly be free is to step off that path entirely. This doesn't mean giving up. It doesn't mean being lazy. It means understanding that life is not a competition. It means realizing that you don't have to fight for everything. Sometimes the best way to win is to stop playing the game altogether. Taoism calls this Wu Wei the art of effortless action. The idea that the best way to live is not by forcing things, but by aligning yourself with the natural flow of life. Think of the happiest moments in your life. Were they the result of struggle, of ambition, or did they happen effortlessly, naturally, in moments when you weren't trying to be anything, when you weren't trying to prove anything? What if that's the secret? What if the real winners in life are the ones who stop trying so hard? The illusion of winning, why chasing success, is a trap. We have been conditioned to believe that life is a race, that there is a finish line somewhere in the distance, and if we just run fast enough, work hard enough, sacrifice enough, we will finally arrive. we will finally feel whole. But have you ever noticed that no matter how much you achieve, no matter how much you win, the finish line only moves further away? Every success leads to another goal, another challenge, another level of competition. The moment you get what you wanted, you immediately start wanting something else. It never ends. And this is why Taoism teaches that the pursuit of success, at least in the way society defines it, is a trap. Think about the most successful people in the world. The billionaires, the celebrities, the icons of achievement. Are they truly free? Or are they trapped in a cycle of endless striving, of constant pressure, of never being satisfied? How many times have you seen someone reach the pinnacle of success, only to realize it didn't bring them the happiness they were promised? How many stories have you heard of people who had it all but still felt empty? That's because success, as society defines it, is built on external validation, money, status, recognition, and anything external can always be taken away. Taoism teaches that the only real success is inner peace. Not wealth, not power, not achievement, just the ability to be content with the present moment without needing anything else. But modern society is built on the exact opposite principle. It thrives on discontent. It needs you to want more, to feel like you are never enough, because that's what keeps the machine running. The economy depends on you believing that happiness is always just one more purchase, one more promotion, one more achievement away. But what if you stopped believing that? What if you stopped running? The Taoist concept of wu-wei effortless action teaches us that the best things in life come not from struggle, but from flow. When you force things, when you chase things, you create resistance. But when you let go, when you trust the natural rhythm of life, things happen with ease. Look at nature. Does a tree struggle to grow? Does a river fight to reach the ocean? No, they simply allow the process to unfold. And yet, humans are constantly at war with reality, constantly trying to force life to conform to their expectations. But the so-called losers of society, the ones who reject competition, who don't chase wealth, who live simply, these people often experience something rare: freedom. They are not owned by their desires. They are not trapped by their ambitions. They move through life lightly, without the burden of always needing to be more, do more, have more. And in that simplicity they find something that the most successful people are still searching for: peace. So ask yourself, are you winning at life, or is life winning against you? Are you truly in control of your desires, or are you just a puppet chasing goals that were never even yours to begin with? Because if you spend your whole life running towards something that will never satisfy you, are you really winning? Or are you just another player in a game designed to keep you running forever? Taoism offers a different path. A path not of struggle, but of surrender. Not of ambition, but of acceptance. And those who walk this path may not look like winners to the outside world, but they are the ones who are truly free. The freedom in letting go. Why true power comes from surrender. We have been taught that control is everything. That if we can just plan enough, work enough, and fight enough, we can bend life to our will. We believe that power comes from domination of circumstances, of others, of ourselves. But Taoism teaches something radically different. True power comes not from control, but from surrender. The more you try to force life to conform to your desires, the more resistance you create. The more you try to grip tightly onto success, security, and certainty, the more anxiety and suffering you invite into your life. But when you let go, when you surrender to the natural flow of things, you discover a kind of ease, a kind of ease, a kind of freedom that no amount of striving can ever give you. Look at the people who are the most stressed, the most exhausted, the most trapped. They are often the ones trying the hardest, the ones micromanaging every detail of their lives, obsessing over every decision, constantly worrying about the future. They believe that the tighter they hold on, the safer they will be. But in reality, their grip is suffocating them. They are weighed down by their own expectations, enslaved by their own need for control. And no matter how much they achieve, they never feel at peace, because peace cannot exist in a mind that is always calculating, always chasing, always resisting the present moment. Now look at the ones who have truly mastered life, not the ones with the most money or the most fame, but the ones who seem effortlessly content, who move through life with grace, who are unshaken by setbacks, who do not live in fear of loss. These are the people who have understood the great paradox: the less you cling, the more life flows in your favor. When you stop forcing things, when you stop trying to control every outcome, life has a way of unfolding exactly as it should. This does not mean you stop taking action. It means your action comes from a place of trust, not fear. It means you move with life, not against it. Taoism teaches that everything in nature follows a rhythm, a flow, a perfect unfolding. The seasons do not rush. The tides do not resist. The sun does not force itself to rise. Everything happens in its own time, with effortless harmony. But humans, in their arrogance, believe they must fight against this natural order. They believe they must struggle, compete, and dominate in order to succeed, and in doing so they create their own suffering. They turn life into a battlefield when it was always meant to be a dance. Think about the hardest moments in your life. The times when things felt impossible, when every effort seemed to be met with resistance, when nothing went according to plan. Were those struggles made worse because life was against you? Or because you were fighting against life? How much pain do we create for ourselves simply by refusing to accept what is? How much suffering comes not from the situation itself, but from our attachment to how we think things should be? Taoism teaches that peace is not found in controlling the world, it is found in accepting it exactly as it is. This is why the so-called losers of society, the ones who refuse to chase status, who do not obsess over controlling every detail of their lives, often find a kind of peace that the ambitious will never know. They are not constantly at war with life. They are not trapped in an endless cycle of striving. They understand that happiness is not something to be achieved, it is something to be allowed. And the only way to allow it is to let go of the illusion of control. But here's the question: what are you afraid will happen if you let go? If you stop chasing, if you stop forcing, if you stop trying to control everything, what do you think you will lose? And more importantly, what do you think you will gain? Because the truth is, the moment you release your grip, the moment you stop resisting the natural flow of life, you will experience something that most people never do: freedom. Not the kind of freedom that comes from wealth or power, but the kind of freedom that comes from knowing that you have nothing to prove, nothing to fear, nothing to lose. Because when you no longer need life to be a certain way in order to be happy, you become untouchable. You become like the river, flowing effortlessly, adapting to whatever comes, never resisting, never breaking. And in that state, life ceases to be a battle. It becomes what it was always meant to be: an experience, not a competition. The Tao of not caring how letting go makes you unstoppable there is a kind of power that no one talks about. A kind of strength that does not come from force, from struggle, or from proving yourself. It is the power of not caring, not in the sense of apathy, but in the sense of liberation. The moment you stop needing validation, stop fearing failure, stop obsessing over outcomes, you become something rare, a person who is truly free. And Taoism teaches that this kind of freedom is the key to an effortless, unshakable life. Most people live in a prison of their own making. They are controlled by invisible chains: the fear of being judged, the fear of failure, the fear of not being good enough. They make choices not because they truly want to, but because they are afraid of what will happen if they don't. They stay in jobs they hate, relationships that drain them, routines that suffocate them, because the alternative, the unknown, is terrifying. But what happens when you stop caring about these things? What happens when you let go of the need to be seen a certain way, to achieve a certain status, to live up to expectations that were never truly yours? You become untouchable. This is what Taoism means by wu-wei effortless action. It is not passivity. It is not laziness. It is the ability to move through life without resistance, without unnecessary struggle, without being weighed down by fear. It is the ability to act from a place of clarity rather than desperation. When you are no longer controlled by your fears, your desires, your attachments, you become light. You move with life rather than against it. And suddenly everything becomes easier. Think about a time when you performed at your best, when you were completely in the moment, doing something with ease, without overthinking, without forcing. That is the state of wu-wei. But most people never experience it because they are too caught up in their own minds. They are too worried about how they look, about whether they are doing enough, about whether they are succeeding or failing. And in that worry, they create tension. They create friction. They make everything harder than it needs to be. But the so-called losers of society, the ones who stop chasing, who stop caring about status, who stop trying to prove themselves, these are the ones who stumble upon something rare: peace. They are not constantly measuring themselves against others. They are not constantly trying to win a race that has no finish line. They are not constantly exhausting themselves in a battle that can never be won. Instead, they simply exist. And in that existence, they find something that the most ambitious people spend their entire lives searching for: contentment. So ask yourself, what would your life look like if you stopped caring about the things that don't truly matter? If you stopped seeking approval? If you stopped fearing failure? If you stopped believing that your worth is tied to success? Would you finally be able to breathe? Would you finally be able to live? Because the truth is, the moment you let go, the moment you stop resisting, the moment you stop trying to force life to be something it's not, you will realize something profound. You were never losing. You were just playing the wrong game.